Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today, in deck number 564, we're going to talk about Nissa, Vastwood Seer. Now, this is Nissa before her Spark Ignited. This is the Origins Flip Walkers, as I've always called them. You know, Jace and whatever. But this is the Nissa. Surprisingly enough, haven't built her till now. Now, it's a pretty straightforward deck now. When she enters the battlefield, of course, you get a basic forest and put it in your hand, and then she has I guess a landfall trigger. If you've got 7 or more lands, you exile her, and then return her to the battlefield transformed, and she turns into Nissa Sage Animist. By the way, thank you, Rob. Rob sent this to me. Whoa, it's been a while, hasn't it, Rob? A year ago? And it's just been kind of chilling in the binder. But 3 Loyalty Walker, of course she flips over. You're going to want to use one of the two, you know. Reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, you put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. So it's, you know, +1 draw card, kind of. Then, of course, you get her crazy 4/4 token. And then her -7. This is what appealed to me. Untap up to 6 target lands. They become 6/6 elemental creatures. They're still lands. Now, I have typically always avoided turning my lands into creatures because it's such a blowout when somebody destroys all creatures and they take your lands with them. But with this deck, I said, you know what? This is a very Nissa thing. So that's what I did. Our lands are going to be our win condition. Now, as usual, this deck is listed up on Architect. As of time of recording it, it is $57.81. So that right there should tell you it is fairly budgeted, and there is no heroic intervention, which is only not in here because I don't have another one. Anyway, so let's get to it. As far as ramp goes, I only have 3 creatures. You guessed it: Elvish Mystic, Llanowar Elves, and Fenhorn Elves. I figured it was Nissa, so they had to be elves. Just kind of a thing. But what we are looking to do is ramp lands into play in a serious way. Now, we have more lands than normal, 40-something, just simply because that's our shtick, you know. So, we have Nature's Lore. By the way, Nature's Lore, depending on when you're seeing this, I know Friday is the North American release of Ikoria. This just says search your deck for a forest. Those triomes are forest, or the shocklands. You know what I'm saying? They have the forest type. Nature's Lore will get them. Rampant Growth, Kodama's Reach, Harrow, Call Me Heart Expedition, Search for Tomorrow, Ranger's Path also says 2 forest. Just saying. Super color fixing. Rude Awakening, Primal Growth, Far Wandering, Untamed Wilds, Nissa's Renewal. Kind of had to put that one in there along with Natural Connection. And then, yeah, you know, Deep Reconnaissance, Hunting Wilds, Yavimaya Dryad. This is, the Yavimaya Dryad is kind of a sleeper there, just simply because I've won games off of Forest Walk Mattering. Now, granted, this deck won't do it because we don't really have Forest Walk in here, but there's been many times this has been the only Gerard in an elf deck, and just for that reason. Womvali Acid Moss, which is great. It can totally get rid of their Maze of Ith, Cabal Coffers, whatever. Journey of Discovery. Good old-fashioned Summer Bloom. Azusa would be pretty good in here as well. And then we're going to cap it off with a Boundless Realms. Now that we've got a crazy amount of land in play, what are we doing with it? Well, first off, Nature's Revolt. We're just going to turn them into creatures. That's just, you know, Nature's Revolt. Now that turns all lands into 2/2 creatures. And that is actually valuable. The reason why that's valuable, I know on the surface you're like, well, Their lands will just block your lands, and then if everybody's super, nobody's super, right? But this also keeps the board wipes off the board. If they're going to lose their lands too, now granted, mana rocks are a thing. Somebody could be in a superior position, but um, now we're going to make our lands bigger. Earth Surge is going to give them +2. Sylvan Advocate. See, they've been printing these cards, but I just don't use them because it's just so risky. But you know what? We're going to do it. Wake Root Elemental. Now, if you'll look at this Wake Root Elemental ability, untap target land you control, it becomes a 5/5 elemental creature with haste. It's still a land. Nowhere there does it say till end of turn. So it's a 5/5 forever now. Sylvan Awakening. Now this is the sweet stuff because they get indestructible. Awakener Druid is going to make one land really, really awesome. And Embodiment of Insight, Now, our land payoffs, as it were. I'm running a Seed the Land mainly because, I don't really see it a lot in play. Yes, your opponent's going to get some 1/1s, but you know what? They ain't getting nowhere near the amount of snakes we're getting, right? Stuff like the Uktabi Wildcats. Molimo, because they count the number of lands. Just a good old-fashioned Rampaging Baloth. I'm telling you what, it's hard to lose a game with Rampaging Baloths out and you cast the Boundless Realms to double up your land and you get all those 4/4s. All the 4/4s. Primal Bellow. See, just basic cards like Primal Bellow and to Blanchwood Armor. I mean, I got to play this. I got to play this deck once against patron Mr. Chris Thompson. Thank you, Chris. I think he won that game, or did I? I don't even remember. It's weird. I play, and then some my mom or my kids or whatever will ask, "Hey, did you win?" And I'll go, "I don't remember." But Blanchwood Armor is just a blowout in a mono green deck because I mean, think about it. We're only playing basic forest. And yeah, I mean, that does enable stuff like Primal Order to value to just rise there. And, Howl of the Night Pack, why not? We're already making snakes and now wolves, and our lands are going to be creatures. And the beautiful part is when you tap them, all your lands for mana, and then you can untap them with Vitalize because they're creatures now. Dump it all into the Killer Bees because this is our air defense here. Actually, not really defense. This is our offense. Odds are we're not blocking with the Killer Bees unless we are positive that it can kill whatever it is. Killer Bees. Huh. That's inspiring a deck. Now, of course, when we get all of those, wolves and snakes and lands that are creatures, we're going to overrun, overrun's a win condition in this particular deck. I love the dense foliage. We do have stuff like the Blanchwood and the whatever, the Primal Bellow, but on the whole, we're not using a whole bunch of actual spot removal. This deck's going to do its thing. It's just trying to outrace. That's it. But this making creatures can't be the target of spells. If all of our lands are creatures, targeted land removal is not that prevalent, but targeted creature removal is. And people's eyes can go pretty wide when they realize all of their removal is now land destruction. So that's why we do things like Autumn's Veil and Veil of Summer and Sky Shroud Blessing. Now, Aggressive Mammoth is kind of another. I mean, just the rate itself, 6-6 or 8-8 trample for 6. Oh my gosh, this is easier to cast. All right, if it didn't have other creatures you control have trample. Now I know Force of Nature is a outclassed card, but that was one of the dream cards. It was 6 mana for an 8-8 trample, and that was the going rate. But you also had to spend 4 green during your upkeep just to keep that thing from punching you in the face. Now they've replaced the downside with a pretty good upside. Get a little card draw, harmonize. Collective Unconsciousness could draw some cards if your lands are creatures. Overwhelming Stampede, another. Now we look at our 5 cards of removal here. It's not a lot. Crumble, Deglamour, Naturalize, Return to Nature. Return to Nature is so good. Yes, I mean, it is strictly better than Naturalize. In a lot of decks, I'm using it in place of Naturalize, but here, I'm using both. And then our last card is Acidic Slime. Now, Acidic Slime is, of course, the perfect thing to suit up with your Blanchwood armor or give it trample. Oh my gosh, trample touch. I love it. Anyway, that is it for Nissa. Said had a black. We have been playing on what was it being called webcam EDH over on Whereby. We've been doing it on Saturdays. Now this upcoming Saturday I won't be able to because I have got a really intense work week coming, and by week I mean probably month. But it's all good, Still undecided on if I like that hard or not because it just covers the. I don't know. Anyway. Oh. So let's go put Nissa on the wall, shall we? 564 is done. I have got another deck done. It's a. I'll be honest with you. The next deck worries me. Worries me about the reception. It's been ready for a while. However, it's not exactly. Yeah, anyway, I don't know. I'm going to do it like it's a normal deck because it was in the rotation and it's got finished and whatever, Anyway, 565. But that's what I have got for right now. I do appreciate y'all watching. As usual, the deck list link is in the show notes below. Big shout out to Archidect is where I list all my decks at. They're partnered with EDH Rec. And another big thank you to everybody for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, and thank you to the patrons. Could not do it without y'all. Thank you so much. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.